This is Roman, the Texas real estate advisor.
Attention San Antonio home sellers, are you making these costly mistakes that are costing you thousands of dollars at the closing table? Before you go ahead and stick that for sale sign in your yard, I want you to hold on. We are about to reveal 5 mistakes that are costing sellers in San Antonio thousands of dollars and that are putting their dreams on hold. From overlooking curb appeal to DIY marketing disasters, learn and discover the pitfalls sellers are making and figure out how you can stay clear of this. Get ready to transform your home selling game and position yourself properly to get top dollar for your home sale in San Antonio, Texas. Stick around to the end. You do not want to miss this. Also, subscribe to this channel for future videos and tips considering real estate in San Antonio, Texas and the Texas Hill Country. To the 5 mistakes sellers are making while selling their homes in San Antonio, Texas. Let's dive straight into it. San Antonio is truly a beautiful, unique, one-of-a-kind city, and it's not just because of the Alamo or other great features like the Riverwalk that spans 15 miles long. We are talking millions of tourists that are coming to San Antonio to see the Riverwalk, to see the Alamo, and to enjoy the beauty of this city. Another thing I wanted to highlight is the fact that San Antonio is Military City, USA. And if we are combining this with the real estate market, these facts, putting it in the context, what does that mean for you as a buyer, as a future resident of San Antonio, or as a seller in San Antonio? This means stability like nothing else. And let me just go a little bit deeper on that. Even in the most uncertain of times, during the pandemic, during the high interest rates that we are experiencing now, San Antonio real estate market has proven itself to be stable for investors, stable for homeowners, people that are coming in and out of the state. And this is due to the high demand that is created every single season when new military families are coming in, and those that are finishing their projects, they are leaving the city, and this creates stability, this creates a need, and it creates a healthy move in the real estate market. So these are the facts, these are the benefits of being a resident in San Antonio or investing in the Alamo City. Mistake number 1 that is often made by sellers in San Antonio when selling their house is ignoring the real estate market trends or the condition overall of the market. Selling your primary residence, could be something that is so dear to your heart. There is memories attached to it. There is, children that were raised in that household, and letting go of such an important part of your life could be difficult. There's a lot of emotion involved. And the greatest mistake that is being made by sellers is not looking at the market as an independent living organism and making the right strategy to list, to sell in accordance with the market. Let me explain to you. The real estate market that is today is different than it was a year ago. There's a lot of factors that are involved in what moves the real estate market. First of all, it is inventory. What does the inventory numbers look like? That is number 1. Number 2, what is the demand? Is there in migration? What are the days on market, average days on market? How long is it taking to sell the home? Another big question, what is the competition in your neighborhood? When you go to list your home, not only are you looking at the price that you think is worth, not only are you looking at the comparables that sold in the past, but you are also looking, what is my competition across the street? What is my competition on the next block? Because when you go to price your home, that will be one of the most important factors, how fast it's going to sell or if it will sell for the price that you desire. Mistake number 2 that is being made by sellers in San Antonio is overlooking the curb appeal. Friends, the importance of the first impression is something that we cannot ignore. I remember a story. I was showing a property to a client of mine, and all it took for us is to just pull up to the driveway. Even looking from the car window at the curb appeal of the house, we looked at each other, the buyer and me, the real estate agent, and we said, yep, we are turning around, we are leaving. And that is such an important thing to understand. If you are going on the market and you are expecting to receive top dollar for your property, that first impression, that curb appeal as you're pulling up to the property, it really matters. What does that mean? It means that the landscaping should be manicured. There should be some kind of a color. There should be something that is drawing attention. It looks clean. It looks cut. The edges are trimmed. The spider webs at the entrance, they're cleaned up, right? You don't have all the cobwebs there. The front door is not chipping. Repaint that front door. It is such a small expense, but it made such a great impression. Also, the windows, especially there right by the front door, when you look at those windows and there's just a caked layer of dirt and mud and pollen on those windows, right away it makes a statement to the potential buyer. So these little things, they are very important. And I'll tell you, sometimes you have to go as far as even to look at the neighbors. You know, there's been instances where I've had experience where you have to actually go and you have to help the neighbor clean up their front yard when you go to list the house. So you be a good neighbor, you bake some cookies, and you come over there and say, John, Sally, here is some cookies. How would you feel if me and my kids came over and helped you to pick up the leaves, mow the lawn? We are getting ready to sell our house, and this is something that is important. Curb appeal, first impressions, it is going to be the make it or break it from that buyer who's walking up to the door and they decide to turn around because the front of the house is just a big mess. And another huge thing is the condition of the fence. Making sure that fence is not tipping, there's not missing, pieces of fence or broken, the broken gate that is barely hinged. All of these things are going to make it a big deal for a potential buyer from giving you a full price or trying to negotiate it down because of the exterior of the house. Mistake number 3 that is being made by sellers in San Antonio is neglecting the condition of the home, which is the inner workings and mechanics of the home, and also neglecting to do a pre-listing inspection. Let me tell you, the days of buyers waiving inspections are very, very rare. I mean, it happened all the time during the crazy sellers market post, the pandemic. But now the buyers are back in the driver's seat. So they have the leverage to negotiate. And so as a wise and savvy seller, when you go on the market, you understand that you're going to have to sell the house more than once. You're going to have to sell the house, buy the pictures by the first offer. And then you're going to have to sell the house again after the inspection comes back. And so understanding that it's not all over when you sign the contract and you accept the offer, that there's going to be a second negotiation after the inspection report. And that is where a lot of sellers, they set themselves up for failure. They put a house on the market that has a leak under the sink, which is a very simple fix. They put a house on the market maybe with dirty AC filters, maybe a couple missing shingles, paint that is chipping on the soffits up by the roof. And these things are literally $500 to a handyman, or maybe one day of work for somebody who has any kind of experience with tools. And if you don't have the time, you don't have the experience, you can hire a handyman. A pre-listing inspection is such a beneficial tool, especially for negotiations, and also giving you an understanding that the condition of your home is ready for the market. And so what happens when a buyer gets the inspection in their hands? They hire the inspector. Here is the inspection before them, and they start looking at all the deficiencies, the missing shingles, the rotting soffits, right? All of these things, the leaking sink, and they're looking at that inspection with big dollar signs in their eyes. How much money can we get off of the seller? And I want to tell you, all of that could have been avoided pre-listing inspection, and just a little bit of investment on the front end is going to cost you thousands of dollars of lost profit. Investing an extra $500 before you list the house, you're going to save thousands of dollars. And that is why it's so important to have a real estate advisor on your end, who's leading you, guiding you, and who's standing behind you and protecting your net proceeds. So you don't lose these things during the negotiations. Another benefit, when you have your pre-listing inspection and then the secondary inspection comes in that was purchased by the buyer, if those two inspections are day and night, you have some questions. Which inspector is doing it wrong? And sometimes I've seen two inspectors, they come and inspect the same house. One of them goes way off on a tangent of things don't matter. They start nitpicking. They start looking at details. They start trying to scare the buyer away. And when you have your own inspection, you can say, hey, look, we just got this house inspected. Here's what our inspector said. Here's what your inspector said. These things don't align. Let's get them on the phone because they are both licensed by the state of Texas, and here we're going to get to the bottom of it. But it's not going to cost me and my family thousands of dollars. And that is an important, friends, of having a good agent on your side who is going to stand behind you and negotiate for your house like it's their own. Mistake number 4 happens all the time, and that is overpricing the house. I want to tell you again, this is so important because you list the property on the market, you put it there, and you are not only presenting it to buyers who are looking at only your property, there is competition. Your house is being compared against other homes, and not only the features, but also, the age of the house. All of these things, they are put on these scales. And I want to tell you, it is very interesting sometimes when people are expecting to get an unrealistic price for their home. And I know how it is. You want to maximize, that value, your investment. You want to cash out. It's a big investment. But you also have to look at it through the eyes of the buyer. They're looking at 5-10 other homes, and they're comparing, and they're looking at that price, the entry price to buy the house, as something that they're also trying to get a good deal on. And so let's give you a practical example. You go to a dealership, there is 2 SUVs, same year SUV, same specs of the SUV, in one of the SUVs, everything is pretty much identical. One of the SUVs is priced 15,000 over than the other. And for what reason, you don't understand why. They just think, they think this one is worth more because, the color is gray instead of blue. And so any buyer, they would look and say, that is not a fair trade. Why would I pay an extra $15,000 for a car when the competition is given to me for a reasonable price? And so overpricing the home just to test the market could actually end up costing you a lot more money. And this is why. Because the first week on the market is your chance to get a full price offer. Second week on the market, those chances to get a full price offer, they go down. Third week, even further down. By fourth week on the market, the buyer is looking at your house and they're looking at days on market. They're beginning to ask the question, how desperate, how motivated is the seller becoming? Because they haven't sold their house in a month now, and that's going to reflect the offer that they're going to write. And especially if there are other homes for sale in the neighborhood. If there's other homes for sale within a radius of 2 miles, they're going to come lowballing. And so that strategy of overpricing on the front end just to see if somebody's going to overpay, in the end, it comes to bite you, and you end up decreasing. You decrease 20, 30,000, and then whoever brings the offer, they see multiple price decreases, and they take advantage of that and start bringing you a lower offer and negotiating you down. So that is a very important thing. Also advise, with a realtor, somebody who is going to give you an opinion that is not based on emotion, that is not also based on just securing the listing. And that is so, so important, especially if you do not want to waste your time selling your house. Reason number 5, the mistakes that people are making when selling their house, it is do-it-yourself marketing. And this mistake a lot of the times is made by realtors who are negligent in their presentation of their client's listing. I don't know how many times I've been scrolling through the MLS, and it's a house that's in the 400,000s, 300,000s, and you're looking at the pictures, you're looking at the description, and you can tell that somebody just threw it together within a couple minutes. I mean, photos are horrible. They're upside down. It's not only that they're bad pictures, they're not even positioned correctly. The lighting is horrible. The presentation in the house is dirty, messy. And what does that turn into? Those type of pictures, that turns out to kill your exposure. What is exposure? Exposure is people that look at it, and by looking at the photos, they decide to take the next step, to call the real estate agent, or to call the seller and say, hey, I want you to show this property to me. I want to see this thing because the pictures look good enough. And so these mistakes are costing sellers not only lost exposure, lost showings, but lost dollars at the closing table. And there's another thing that I want to highlight. It's not enough to only, hire the right photographer, or not only just to hire a professional photographer. It always comes down to strategically using only the right photos. And I want to kind of go a little bit deeper on this. There's some pictures that are professionally taken by photographers that are poorly angled, or the furniture is somehow in the way that makes the room look smaller than what it really is. Or maybe even it goes even before that. The realtor did not advise their client to prepare for the photo shoot. And the counters are full of stuff. There is a lot of things hanging on the walls that shouldn't be. It is very dark setting in the house. And all of these things, when they translate to photography, you can't fix those pictures anymore because the house was not prepared for the photo shoot. And then after that, not only that, the second problem is that the agent takes and uses bad pictures and he puts them online. And so you have 10 good pictures, but 5 bad pictures. And those bad photos, they make the room look too small. They make the kitchen look crowded. They make the room look too dark. And when people see that, right away they say, no, we're going to pass, because they're comparing option A, B, and C, and option C is bad, so they're not even going to take their time to schedule those showings. And so I'm saying that it is very important for a seller to get professional opinion, somebody who is on their side, somebody who is worried about their bottom line as if it was their own bottom line, if it was the sale of their own property. So I encourage you not to make these mistakes. Be wise when you go to sell your house. Counsel with an expert and make sure that you make, the top dollar for the sale of your property. Thank you for sticking with me to the end of this video. My name is Roman with Gold Real Estate Group. I am your trusted Texas real estate advisor. I serve the Central Texas area. So if you are thinking about relocating, investing, buying, selling, my mission is to save my clients thousands of dollars, protect their interest, be their trusted advisor, and make sure that they have the greatest experience in the real estate space. It is my goal to provide the gold standard of real estate service. Also, if you know anybody who would benefit from this video, go ahead, share this video with them, share the channel with them. I will be making a lot more of these videos. There's a lot of great programs right now available to buyers. There's a program, USDA Direct, that offers a 1% mortgage up to 38 years. I mean, this is impossible. This is something to dream for. This opens the doors for millions of Americans to get into home ownership and thrive. So if you have any questions, my contact is below. Direct cell phone number, email. You can reach me any way you would like, and I look forward to seeing you in the future videos.